Fortnite skin stereotypes. So let's start with the Wildcat, because this is a skin that makes players think you're rich. And frankly, I don't blame them, because the Wildcat is one of the most expensive skins in the game. So players also automatically assume that you have a stacked locker, since you most likely spent over $500 to get the Wildcat. But suppose you're wearing the Renegade Raider. In that case, you'll have players either thinking you're some type of famous streamer or big YouTuber just because the skin you're wearing is rare. Or you'll have a toxic kid wanting to start beef with you so they can tell all their friends that they beat a Renegade Raider. Either one. Then speaking of the Renegade, if you're wearing the Assault Trooper, you're gonna have players thinking that you're using the real Renegade Raider until you run into them. And not many players will think much of you since you rarely run into anyone using the Assault Trooper anymore. And if Dynamo is your go-to skin, you most likely have a YouTube channel where you post montages from time to time. You're also a player who only focuses on competitive and winning Fortnite tournaments. Then most just think you're a toxic sweat whenever they see you. Then, if you see someone using the Devourer, they're most likely using the skin because of the hype. It's getting a good amount of it due to the Devourer Easter eggs around the Chapter 3 map. And I bet this player will not use this skin anymore after the next season drops. But if you're using the fully gold version of Peely, you're most likely someone who legit plays nothing but Team Rumble and public matches, since the only thing you worry about is leveling up. And while on the topic of gold skins, we have to talk about Midas. Because when wearing this skin, players usually can't tell if you're good or bad at the game, since you see both noobs and good players using the skin. And I could be wrong, but I bet you only do it for the golden touch if you main Midas. And you don't even want to hear the stereotype for Spider-Man. But let's look at what players think of the Foundation first. And most players don't even worry about you because they assume you're not going to be a threat. That's mainly because of how many people are using this skin. And if you're wearing any other skin that's a part of the 7, it lets players know you're a big fan of the lore. But if you're still using Naruto, players automatically assume that you're an anime lover that buys every skin of this style and only talks about anime. And I don't blame you if that's true, because almost every anime skin that Fortnite's ever dropped looks fire. I just hate that I didn't buy the anime skin pack. And if the Raptor is your main skin, the stereotype has to be true, because you're only using this skin because C-Day used to use it. And if not for him, you probably wouldn't have ever bought this skin. You also probably tried to make a C-Day style video once before. And I don't know why, but whenever players see someone using the OG Skull Trooper, they automatically assume that the person using the skin bought their account to get the skin. It's pretty funny seeing players argue with people using OG skins in creative, but these players always have the sweatiest epic usernames. But you have it even worse if you wear the Dark Bomber. And that's because this used to be the only skin that FaZe Sway used to use. So whenever you do have this skin equipped, players assume that you're a FaZe Sway wannabe and that you're a creative warrior. And the creative warrior part might be true. And if you're someone who uses the default skin all the time, 90% of the players you run into think you're a fake default skin, which is most likely true. It's like every fake default tries so hard to prove a point. And you also have that one group of players who thinks that anyone using a default is poor, which definitely isn't true. Then if you main the Aura, almost all the players you run into think you're sweaty and toxic, even if you're not sweaty nor toxic. And that's because of how tryhards made the Aura so famous. Because I remember there was one point in time when you'd see someone with this skin 5 times in a game. And it's kind of the same thing with the soccer skins, depending on which one you're wearing. Because if you're wearing an OG one, players think you're some sweaty Twitch streamer who emotes on everyone you see. Then the other versions of the soccer skins they've been releasing don't really have a stereotype, to my knowledge. But the Black Knight has a stereotype, because most players think that you're an OG player who used to be good at the game when they see this skin on you. And that stereotype is probably true for most players who still main the Black Knight, since you most likely don't play Fortnite as much as you used to in Chapter 1. And if Siren is your skin, players think you're using this skin because of Benji Fishy, just because he's the one who made it famous. And most players believe you are very good at the game because of this skin. So if you're not the best player, you could buy the Siren, so you'll still have players scared of you. But if you really want to scare players, I'd recommend you start using the Zadie or one of the Mogul Masters. That's because these are the scariest skins you can run into while playing Fortnite, especially if it's an arena. And you can blame all the pros during Chapter 2 for this. You can also blame Reet for giving the focus a stereotype, because now it's like whenever you see someone using the focus, the first person you think of is Reet. You also probably assume that the player will peace control you and make you look like a fool, because I know I do. And Meowscles makes players assume you're some noob or someone who always plays creative death runs and role plays. Then the noob part probably isn't true for everyone who wears this skin, but the creative part is pretty true, because I always see people using the Meowscles when playing death runs. Then if Recon Expert is your skin, almost everyone assumes that you didn't have the skin before they release it into the item shop again. And you most likely trolled players and said you did. When using this skin, you also use the rarest backbling and pickaxe in your locker, so you'll look like a real OG. And if you're using an NFL skin all the time, that's probably because all these are the only skins you can relate to in real life, since you play football in real life. Or maybe you're just a huge fan of the NFL who's intensely loyal to your team. You also never change the jersey nor number you're wearing with the skin. Then the Manic makes players think you're sweaty and have perfect aim just because of the pros who use the skin. And the aim part isn't really a stereotype to me because it seems like almost every Manic that I've ever run into has soft aim or aimbot. And the fish stick stereotype is that it's usually a young kid who's very nice and friendly. They also might be a squeaker 70% of the time. Then these are the types of players who usually send everyone they play with a friend request due to how friendly they are. If only I ran into more fish sticks. Because I always see people using the spark plug, and the stereotype for this skin isn't anything nice. Since most of the time, people using this skin will do whatever it takes to keep you from eliminating them. Even if that consists of wasting over 5,000 materials in less than a minute. Just chill, spark plug users. And the Rainbow Rider lets others, and me, know that you'll do the extreme to go unlock any free skin that Fortnite drops. You probably wouldn't even care if you were required to get 500 wins in a row to unlock a skin, because you'd most likely do it, still technically free. You also own just about every free cosmetic that Fortnite's ever released. Then the stereotype for the Crisabel is that players assume that you're someone who doesn't have a lot of V-Bucks, nor spend a lot of money on Fortnite. That's because you're always using sweaty free skins most of the time if you're not using a Battle Pass skin. And if you're using a superhero skin, that lets everyone know that you only care about sweaty and try-hard cosmetics, because you probably don't even wear any Battle Pass skins or anything. Then you only use this skin in a solid color and don't make any color combinations with it. But not gonna lie, I do the same when using superhero skins. Then if one of Chun-Li or Ruby is your go-to skin, you're probably one of the players who always goes into Party Royale and trolls Sims. Because we all know the Party Royale Sims love when they see someone using a nice girl skin. And Spider-Man lets players know a few different things. The first could be you actually don't know anything about Spider-Man, but act like you do know since he's a Fortnite skin. The other is that you're using this skin because you're a diehard Marvel fan. Or you're maybe just using it because it's a tier 100 skin. Now, go ahead and click this video to see what type of Fortnite player you are.